Today we are going to be discussing questions which have three ratios like this. So let me read the question and then let's see how we can solve this problem very efficiently. An amount of $7,500 needs to be shared among Peter, Roger, and Sam in the ratio of 3 to 5 to 7. How much more would Sam get than Peter? As you notice, I underlined some of the keywords just like the way you underline reading passages, because we would like to know what exactly we should be doing with the problem. Okay, and at this point of time I would suggest that you may pause the video, go and grab a notebook and a pencil, and then come back here and resume the video so you can join, and we are going to be solving some of the problems together. All right, so having said this, now before we solve this problem, let's try to have a small review of how we solve problems involving proportions. So as an example, I have taken a very simple problem that you can solve in your head. You know how to solve this problem. So I'm going to read the problem, and then I will teach you a very valuable technique in solving such problems very efficiently. Okay. The problem: in a store, 6 apples are priced at 32 cents. What will be the price of 24 apples? Well, you know the answer, right? You would have learned how to solve this problem in a certain way in your school. But I'm going to teach you a method by which we are going to use the same method, very effective method, to solve all problems involving proportions in a very effective way. Okay, so the method begins with something called tabulation, where we tabulate the information that we have from the problem. So that'll give an opportunity for us to have a bird's eye view of the information that we have in the problem. So let's begin with this. So we have apples and we have price. And so we buy 6 apples and we pay 32 cents. Now, if we have to buy 24 apples, how much money do we have to spend? Now, at this time, we are going to stop doing any aggressive math, because most of these tests that we are going to be talking about, they are known as tests of reasoning, and therefore in most situations you probably would not have to do very aggressive math. And let's take a look at this. Now, the first thing that we notice is that there is an existing proportion in the number of apples. So 6 to 24 is 4 times, and therefore the price also will increase 4 times, and so therefore 4 32s are 128. Now that's the answer. Now let's pause. Now, how did we find out the product for 4 times 32 as 128 without doing any math? That's pretty simple. So for very simple numbers, you can do a multiplication in your head like this. For example, we wanted to multiply 4 times 32. So we split the number 32 as 30 and 2. Therefore, let's, for example, 4 times 30 is 120 in your head. And 4 times 2 is 8 in your head. And so that'll be 128. Let's take another number. Let us say that we would like to multiply, let's say 5 times, say 63. So that is going to be 5 times 60 is going to be 300, and 5 times 3 is going to be 15. So 63s are 315. You can do that in your head, and this is going to save a lot of your time. So For every product, if we are going to take a pencil and start writing, it's going to take away precious seconds, precious time in completing the test. And so here is the first rule that we follow at PrepMate when we are going to prepare for the test. That is, in math sections, we use less pencil and more head. This is something you got to keep remembered. So we use less pencil for math and more head for math. Okay. Having said this, let's go ahead and solve one more problem to see if we can solve the problem in the same way. Okay. So again, I'm going to read the problem. In a store, 6 apples are priced at 32 cents. How many apples can we buy for 96 cents? Like I said, I'm taking problems that you also know how to solve. And so you can compare the methods that we use. And so you would be able to quickly understand the method that I'm talking about. So the first step is to tabulate the information that we have. And so we have apple and we have price. 6 apples, we would have to pay 32 cents. And for 96 cents, how many apples we are going to get? So as you can see, there is a proportion existing which is 3 times. And therefore, the number of apples we would buy would also be 3 times 6, which will be 18 apples is what we are getting. Is that cool? Very cool. Very simple methods. And these methods will save a lot of your time. And you will also be surprised to see that more often than otherwise, your answers are more and more accurate. Okay, let's do one more problem. So in this problem again, let me read the problem. 6 apples are priced at 30 cents. What will be the price of 10 apples? So let's tabulate apples and price. And then 6 apples are going to be 30 cents. And then we need to buy 10 apples and how much money we would have to pay. Now, we don't see any proportion here, but a proportion doesn't have to exist only this way. A proportion can also exist horizontally like this. For example, this is 5 times 60. 5 times 6 is 30, and therefore 5 times 10 is going to be 50. Therefore, the price of 10 apples are going to be 50 cents. Isn't that cool? Absolutely. And as you go, you would find that you would be able to figure out the answers for these kinds of questions even without doing all these steps. It's very simple. For example, you have 6 apples and you have 30 cents. Right there you see the proportion 5 times. And therefore this should also be 5 times and so on. But for some more time, just practice by writing this, the information in the form of a table. And so you get excellent practice and excellent confidence in solving such problems. Okay. So now shall we go to the problem of the day? All right. So here is the problem of the day. An amount of $7,500 needs to be shared among Peter, Roger, and Sam in the ratio of 3 to 5 to 7. How much more would Sam get than Peter? Very good. So you're going to follow the same method of tabulation. So first step, I'm going to write here, is tabulate. Okay. So we have 3 people, Peter, Roger, and Sam, who share something in the ratio of 3 to 5 to 7. So whenever we have problems involving sharing with ratios, we should first come up with a total of the ratio like this. So this is going to be like 3 plus 5 is 8 plus 7 is 15. And that would mean if we have 15 of something like $15, 15 pencils, 15 candies. So Peter gets 3 of them, Roger gets 5 of them, and Sam gets 7 of them. All right. So now we would have to share $7,500. Now, let's first of all try to share $75 because we can always multiply by 100, okay? So when we have to share $75, now you see that, so you apply the proportion. So you can see that we have a proportion of 5 times. So everybody gets 5 times of their respective share. So therefore, Peter gets 5 times 3, which will be 15. Roger gets 5 times 5, which will be 25. And Sam gets 5 times 7, which will be 35. I'm sorry, this is 35. And so when you add up this, you can see that 35 plus 25 is 60, plus 15 is 75. You see that? Cool. So now we know how to share $75 in the same ratio among these 3 people using the method of proportion. Cool. And so when you have to share $7,500, you do the same thing. So this is going to be 100 times. And so therefore, obviously, you multiply everything by 100. So Sam gets 3,500. So Roger gets 2,500. And Peter gets 1,500. So now to answer the question, how much more would Sam get than Peter? Sam gets $3,500 and Peter gets $1,500. So if you subtract $3,500 minus $1,500, which is going to be $2,000, and therefore our answer is B, $2,000 is the correct answer. Did you see that? Very cool. So I would suggest that you pause the video and write down this the problem in your notebook and do the same thing in the same steps like what we are doing, so you know that this is how the problem works. And then you can always resume the video and then go to the next question. We are going to solve a couple of more problems, and so you would understand this. Now, before we move on to the next problem, so I'll repeat what we did. We solved the problem first by tabulating the information that we have, like Peter, Roger, and Sam. Their ratios underneath, 3, 5, and 7. And so first thing we did was to come up with a total. And so 3 plus 5, 8, plus 7 is going to be 15. And then we tried to share 15 in the same ratio that made up 15. And so that'll be 5 times. And so everybody gets this, the money in the same ratio of, let's say, 3 times 5, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, let's say that we had to share, let's say, $45 instead of $75. So I'm going to erase a part of this. So let's say that we would have to share $45 instead of $7,500. So this is 3 times. You see that? And so everybody will get 3 times. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 15. 3 times 7 is 21. So if you add up this, you get 45. Is that okay? All right. So I hope you understood how to solve this problem. And so we can now move on to another sample problem. Okay, I suppose, I presume that you have your notebook ready with your pencil. So you can pause the video and don't try to do that, just the steps in your notebook. Write down the problem in your notebook. And so you can always go back to the notebook instead of coming back and watching the video all over again. And write down the problem and then solve the problem in your notebook, and then resume the video, play the video, and see if you could solve the problem the same way like what I did before. Okay. So I'm going to do the problem here so you can understand. But I have right now a small clock, very cute clock, which I call as ticker. So I'm going to take the help of ticker to see how long it takes for us to solve this problem. Okay. So first thing is, let's start the clock, and then we'll read the problem and solve the problem. Okay. So because the time that we have in a typical test is the time to read the question, solve whatever you want, and bubble in. All of them has to be done typically in under 60 seconds. That's going to be our goal, okay? So let's see if we can do that. All right. So I'm going to erase this first, so I need more space. So I'm going to start the clock. The clock is on. A box contains red, blue, green, and green marbles in the ratio of 2 to 3 to 7. So I'm going to write this down. Red, blue, and green marbles in the ratio of 2 to 3 to 7. And so we are going to come up with the total here. So that's going to be 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 2 is 12. Okay. If the total number of marbles is 144, so we are going to write 144 underneath total. How many blue marbles are there in the box? We are interested only in blue marbles. So this is 12 times, and therefore blue marbles must be 12 times 3, which will be 36. So our answer is C, 36. That's the correct answer. I'm going to pause. So cool. We solved the problem, including reading the problem, writing down the steps, everything in about 46 or 47 seconds. Isn't that cool? Awesome. That's exactly how you should solve the problem. Now, if you had any difficulty in solving the problem, it's probably because you were trying to, skip some steps and then ran into a problem. So don't do that. This is the time for you to practice solving these problems exactly the same way that I do. And then eventually when you solve dozens and dozens of problems, you would know how to do this problem even more efficiently, minimizing your steps. But until such time, I suggest that you tabulate, write down the names, and then write down the proportion, and then find the proportion here, and then solve the problem. Is that okay? Shall we do one more problem? Sure. Okay. So are you ready now? Okay. I turn to a new page in your notebook, and let's go. All right. So we are all set to solve one more problem. One more time, I'm going to use the help of tick ticker. Do you like tick ticker? Okay. But you don't have to time yourself for now because you're just practicing. Because I've been doing math for a very long time. So I know how exactly to approach the problem. But for you, first thing is you got to practice, so don't look at the clock for now. I'm just showing you I'm trying to demonstrate that these problems can be solved in under 60 seconds. All right, cool. Okay, so we have the problem here, and I'm going to take the help of tick ticker one more time. And so are you ready? You may pause the video like before and solve the problem all by yourself, and then come back and resume the video and see if you were able to get the same answer the same way like I did. Okay, so I'm going to start the tick ticker. A group consists of men, women, and children in the ratio of 4 to 7 to 5. Men, women, and children in the ratio of 4 to 7 to 5. So we're going to come up with a total. That's going to be 4 plus 7 is 11 plus 5 is 16. Okay. If the number of women in the group is 28, so I'm going to write 28 below the number 7. And how many people are in the group in total? So we got to figure out this. And so as you can see, we have, this is 4 times 7. And so this answer should also be 4 times 16, which should be 64. There are 64 people in the group. That's the answer. So we're going to pause the video. The tick ticker. Cool. As you can see, we solved the problem in like about 47, 48 seconds. Cool. Did you like it? So were you able to solve the problem in the same way? Like even if you have taken like about a minute or a minute and a half, that's still excellent. So if you got the correct answer, congratulations. And let's move on to another question. All right. So now that you have understood how exactly the ratios work in terms of proportions, let's go back to the same problem. Peter, Roger, and Sam, they are hanging around there. And let's see if we can solve the problem even more efficiently. Okay. So an amount of $7,500 needs to be shared among Peter, Roger, and Sam in the ratio of 3 to 5 to 7. How much more would Sam get than Peter? So as before, so let's write down let's tabulate the information. Peter, Roger, and Sam, they share something in the ratio of 3 to 5 to 7. And then you're going to come up with a total. That's going to be 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. Okay. Now, the question is asking how much more would Sam get than Peter? Let's say that if we share $15, Sam gets 7, Peter gets 3. And so the difference here between Sam gets $4 more. Do you see that? Okay. Now, so therefore, the difference is $4. Okay, so I'm going to write the difference here as 4. This difference works exactly like the same ratio, like other ratios. And so if we have $75, then this is 5 times 15 is 75. So 5 times 4 is 20 will be the difference. So if we share $75, Sam will get $20 more than the Peter because we already found the difference in the ratios. Do you see that? Therefore, if let's say we have $7,500, then the difference is going to be $2,000. Do you see that? Did you understand how this is even more efficient than the method that I taught? Yeah, math is fun. So if you if you keep exploring, you would find more and more efficient ways of solving these problems. Now, having done this, as before, let's take another value to be shared and see what's going to be the difference. For example, so we know that if we share $15, Sam will get $4 more than Peter. Okay. Let us say that we would have to share. Let's take a random number. Let's say how about 90? Okay. Say we would have to share $90. In which case, how much more would Sam get than Peter? The same with the difference of 4 as a ratio. And so this is 6 times 15 is 90. Okay. And therefore 6 times 4 is going to be 24. Do you see that? Very, very good. So let's complete this lesson by taking a small challenge. Are you ready to take a challenge? Challenge is always interesting, right? We should always take the challenge. Now, if let's say we try to do something, let's say we would like to do a high jump and we would like to scale, let's say 4 feet, then our target must be above 4 feet, like about 5 feet. Then only we would definitely get like 4 feet. And therefore, now let's move on and take a very interesting challenge. Are you ready? So here is the challenge. So have your notebook ready, write down the problem in your notebook. Doesn't matter how much of time you're going to take, like maybe a couple of minutes, that's fine. And then let's see how we are able to solve the problem. I'm going to read the problem. Brian, Kathy, and Dave are partners to share a prize money, okay, something they won, in the ratio of 2 to 5 to 8. Kathy received $180 more than Brian. What is the prize money received by Dave alone? You have answers A, B, C, and D. Now go ahead and try to solve the problem. Pause the video, and then when you are done with this, resume the video. Okay, so I presume that you have very successfully took the challenge and completed the problem. And what was your answer? So if you selected A, 2250, I would not say accurate, that's incorrect. Okay. If you chose B, which is $96, then my comment is going to be better luck next time. So that's also not correct. If your answer was C, I have to caution you. Careful, my friend. So that's also not the correct answer. But if your answer was D, 480, then you did it. Great job. So congratulations. And if you did not solve the problem correctly, then go back and check your steps. Compare the steps with the problem that we solved before and do that step by step. You will definitely solve the problem. Is it okay? All right. Hope you found this lesson enjoyable and useful. Please share these free lessons with your friends. Let them know. Also watch our video, how to prepare for SHSAT and TGA tests. This tutorial video has some very valuable guidelines for both parents and students on how to prepare for both SHSAT and TGA tests. PrepMate's online classroom courses have been developed by professionals with extensive experience in K-12 education and especially in test prep. We are specialists in test prep. PrepMate's online classroom lessons teach you very effective strategies and valuable methodologies, just like the way how you saw just now. You definitely learned a new technique, didn't you? The lessons improve your confidence in academics. There's nothing like, when in a classroom and the teacher is going to ask you, how do you solve the problem? If you raise your hand and say that I know how to solve the problem, that's the proudest moment, right? And the lessons help you solve test questions within the given time. That's always our objective, that typically, like in most of the tests, you should know how to solve each one of the problem in under 60 seconds. Thank you very much for taking this lesson and wish you good luck.